Welcome to The Real Review, sponsored by Parametric and Lazy Ape Studios, where you get some of the latest happenings, real thoughts, and perspectives in the world of film and television. My name is Matt Hay, and I am here with my cohort, Joel Cunningham. Say hi, Joel.
Hi, Joel.
Yeah, that's perfect. Beautiful.
That's always the lamest way to introduce yourself. I've got a very itchy eye at the moment. I apologize.
Yeah, you're just like rubbing your eye over there.
It's going to be all red, I imagine.
It's just going to fall out of there.
I went swimming. I'm trying to get in con shape is what I call it because I'm going to Comic-Con. And so I've been working out a lot more. I've been swimming. I've been running.
What's con shape?
Comic-Con. Like
I know, but
shape.
like, what does that mean to you? Like,
con shape is healthy shape because you need all the energy to run from like all the, you need energy and you need to be able to run because a lot of times you're like, I need to get in this line that's like 10-minute run away.
And that's funny. And that's funny because literally
and you eat really unhealthy.
5 minutes ago, you just told me about how unhealthy you eat while you're at con.
Exactly. You eat really unhealthy, so you like pay for it while you're there. You know, like you build up the points. I'm going way too into this. They'll just suffice to say that I'm working out right now because I need to get in better shape because I have a little bit of belly and I want to be in better shape.
Working on your con bod.
Yeah. Make sure all the lovely geeky girls checking out the con. I'm just kidding. Totally went too far with that one.
We are gonna write a how to get in con bod shape.
That is amazing.
That is for amazing. Dummies.
How to get in con shape for dummies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get your con bod.
Well, most people probably need. I should.
We are just.
There's a lot of people that could use that book. Is all I'm gonna say. There's some people that wear some costumes that I'm like, you need a how to get in con shape book. Sorry.
We are going to scrap this episode of Tube Talk to bring you the Con Bod episode. Yes.
It's a new podcast, which is just about how to get in shape for con.
Con bods.
Yes.
All right.
Awesome.
So this is our Tube Talk episode where we talk about just kind of the latest in television, maybe talk about some shows that we've had a chance to check out, some old shows, new shows, whatever it may be, talk about what's coming up. But yeah, so we got a couple of things that we're going to kind of touch on a little bit.
Yeah.
And again, we are in this weird summertime lull where there's not a lot of new stuff happening. There is stuff right around the corner.
Yeah, Netflix is still pumping out new content, and so we're going to talk about some Netflix stuff.
Yeah. And then Game of Thrones is right around the corner too. So
I'm excited about.
I mean, that sort of thing. And so we'll definitely touch on that here.
Yeah.
But more importantly, we're going to wrap up in this episode, the finale of season 3 of Better Call Saul.
Better Call Saul.
Yes.
Better Call Saul.
And so let's actually just start with that.
Real quick. Some good ways to get connected, though.
Oh, yeah. Do that, Joel.
I can do that. Just real quick, though.
Yeah.
So, we have our website, realreviewmedia.com. We'd love to see you getting connected on there. Also, our Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, which are all, it's facebook.com/realreviewmedia, or you can find us at Real Review Media on Twitter and Instagram. And then lastly, definitely love to hear any thoughts, perspectives, good vibes from you through email, which is realreviewmedia@gmail.com. Feel free to send us a line.
Right.
Yes.
Boom.
Awesome. So then, let's get into
Better Call Saul.
Better Call Saul.
So I liked this episode probably more than you did, Joel. But I liked a number of things of it. The one thing I didn't like is we didn't get any Mike.
Yeah.
I kind of thought we'd see something else. So we last saw him. He was just having to deal with Madrigal. And Lydia.
He's played it really. I mean, not he, but the character has been very absent the last couple episodes at least. It's been like.
I thought it was he in episode 9. I thought he did the Madrigal thing in episode 9. Maybe that wasn't it.
He did. The last big thing that I remember seeing with him was him signing up the Madrigal. Yeah, but like he hasn't really done anything. There hasn't really been any forward momentum with his character. He hasn't been setting anything up. It's really just been him sort of creating that new relationship.
Yeah.
And so I've wanted a bit more with them, and like what I was thinking is that my assumption was that maybe what we were going to see was a big shocker at the end of this episode, or this last season closer, was you were going to realize that they had caught up to almost the same timeline as Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
And that maybe we would have like a Jesse appearance or something like that, so they had really gotten close or had caught up.
Yeah.
And that's what I was thinking they were saving him up for, but nothing.
Yeah.
So that was disappointing to me in a way because I was wanting something.
Mm-hmm.
Give me some direction of where he's going. You know, he's working with Mike. Nacho, I was glad to see what happened with Nacho.
Yeah, that was a highlight for me too.
That was like the highlight. Yeah, the whole episode.
Finally got Hector. He had his heart attack and his medicine didn't help him.
Which I'm actually surprised they didn't bring Mike too. I mean, he was kind of connected to that whole. I mean, that would have been bad, I guess.
Mike didn't want to be a part of that.
Yeah, he didn't want to be a part of it. And plus, that just was bad. Bad call on my part. Good thing they didn't include
Yeah,
it.
yeah. But anyways, another highlight I loved, and I told you this earlier, I loved Howard kind of sticking it to Chuck. Chuck was trying to like bring HHM like to its knees, and
first Howard sticks it to Chuck, and then Chuck sticks it to Chuck.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty bad. I was sad to see him go. Like, what is that? Like, I hate to see you leave, but not sad to see you go.
Wait, are you talking about just Chuck dying?
Yeah, his passing. I mean, I didn't really care about him all that much. I've made no like.
Actually, people loathed him,
right?
So, and that's okay. And I think they wrote him to be that way.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, well, this is kind of the end of him. I think it's more about the implications. I think this is where kind of our difference of opinions just kind of happens a little bit here.
Yeah.
Is I liked it because it was a little bit of a cliffhanger. Ominous. Oh, is he still alive? Which was then disputed by Vince Gilligan and Peter Gould. They're like, yeah, he's gone.
Yeah.
And then what I liked about it is with the implications of Jimmy and how that's going to affect him in future seasons.
Yeah. I think that's good. I was fine with him going, and I was fine in a way with how it happened, although it felt a little anticlimactic for him to just kind of off himself such a that's a really rough way to go too, like burning yourself alive.
Right.
You would hope that like if you were going to do that, maybe you would like pass out from like smoke inhalation or something.
He should have just turned on all the electricity first.
Well, I mean,
and like just lost his mind and then
he's a smart enough guy, and he's never tried to commit suicide before, that I feel like he's a smart enough guy that he would do like the standard type way of maybe doing that, which would be like, pills or, God forbid, like killing, like hanging himself.
Yeah.
Like that's as extreme as I would have seen it go. But like to burn yourself alive is like such a ridiculously intense way to kill yourself.
I have a feeling that we might see,
which is a weird thing to I'm
see
debating
like,
right now.
I have a feeling
we might
kill
see yourself,
see
Matt. How would you do it?
At the beginning of season 4, I have a feeling we'll be like, they'll be like, the cops will be talking to Jimmy. They'll be like, hey, yeah, he your brother died. It looked like he was struggling trying to get out of the house.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that'd be bad.
Yeah, that could be bad. Like this flash shot of him, and he's just like, yeah. I don't know.
But anyways,
sorry, that was
no, it's okay. I kind of like the way that
even shooting himself. I mean, I'm going really down this path here, but like just something that's a little bit less painful. That's like a really painful way I would imagine to die.
You know what one of my favorite scenes was, and this is totally non-important scene, was Kim going to Blockbuster.
I thought that was amazing. I was like, holy cow, it takes me back. I was like, the fact that she's at a Blockbuster.
I thought that was awesome.
I was like, where did they find all the Blockbuster merch and everything?
And all from that movies from that time period?
Exactly. She's like picking them out. I thought that was just so nostalgically cool.
Yeah.
Her twist there was a bit weird to me. Like, I understand why, but it was a bit weird to me that she just suddenly like up and decided that I'm just going to let that go and not really do anything. I mean, I understand why, because she's obviously realized that she's kind of gone overboard a little bit with the amount of work that she's trying to do. But at the same time, like, that's who she is. She's always been that way. So that suddenly changes. I don't know. That just was.
It's like a near-death experience, I think, is probably what they were going for. But
she seemed fine, though. She seemed like she was okay. But then all of a sudden she's like, well, I'm just going to take a break. Even though I'm totally fine, except physically, I'm just going to take a break. I don't
know. And then finally we got some rectification of Jimmy messing with Irene.
Yes.
He
that
knew,
was good.
It was good. It was really good. It was a great thing. He knew that he had to take the brunt of it and basically burn all the bridges in order to make everybody back on board with Irene. And he legitimately felt bad for what he did. And he's like, I got to make this right. And we got to see that. I forget her name. What's that lawyer's name from Davis in Maine? That was like really annoying. That
Linda?
Yeah, that came and like talked to him over the microphone.
Yeah.
She was terribly annoying when we back in the first half of the season. And, and then she comes up again. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot how annoying she was.
No, not Linda. I forget her name. I know who you're talking about. I'm sorry. She did a great job, though.
Yeah.
Making her resurgence into the script. I thought she played that really well, and you kind of knew where that was going.
Yep.
Like you could tell, but she played it in a way that I thought was realistic. She's a good actress, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
it was good.
She played it in a way that was like, okay, you can tell that she's kind of rehearsed this, but not at the same time.
Yeah.
And that turns out to be exactly what it was.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of her as like an actual actor that's acting out a scene where she's trying to pretend like she has something rehearsed, but she doesn't actually have it rehearsed. It would be a really hard role to play, I imagine.
Yeah. I guess that's it really for that. I guess looking ahead at season 4, it's they have mentioned that they can see this thing approaching its end real soon. I still have a feeling that season 4 is going to be the last season.
Yeah. I would agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what they've got left story-wise. I mean, they've already killed off Chuck. It looks like, excuse me, it looks like we've also got Hector now, who's kind of not kicked the bucket, but gotten into, I'm guessing, his wheelchair state.
Yeah. And
so,
his bell.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's
they got to explain away Kim. That's about one of the biggest things. And get Saul his company. Or his
Kim, they got to get Saul's company. They've also got to explain kind of where that pre-existing story, like with the Cinnabon stuff, where that ties in.
I want to see maybe a whole episode.
I was hoping,
on that.
I would love an episode, but I was actually hoping that with this last season finale that they would have given a little more snippet to that. Maybe there's a reason they're playing that close to the chest, but I was hoping they would give a little taste of it.
So far, they've only done season premieres with those little flash forward things.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'd like to see on the final season if they're gonna do it, like a whole episode based on like what happens after the fact. You know.
Yeah, I'd
maybe
like to
some redemption. Or
I'm
something.
connected enough with Jimmy's story that I want to see him outside of just the Breaking Bad, in the sense that like where he ends in the Breaking Bad story for the most part. But I'd like to see where he went after that.
Right.
So
I want to see him get out of Cinnabon and stop being Gene. Maybe
yeah,
I don't know. We'll
maybe
see.
he's doing something. Maybe he's like, maybe he's got some long con that he's like doing at the Cinnabon. I was thinking of like send him like the most epic slip and fall ever or something. Yeah. I don't know.
Well,
like,
hey, at least he's not stationed at Baskin Robbins because they always find out.
Oh, they do?
Always find out
they
Baskin
do?
Robbins.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So don't slip and fall at Baskin Robbins.
They found out Paul Rudd was Ant-Man or whatever, and it was crazy.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping we get a bit of that relationship dynamic stuff between Kim and Jimmy. Eventually, we're going to have to meet up, obviously, with the characters from the Breaking Bad series and saga. We'll see how that plays out.
Yeah.
How much we'll get into that. If like it's going to be one of those things where
it's probably going to be more so.
They do like an initial
season.
connect and then it like fades out or something, fades to white or something. I'm trying to think of what else. I mean, there isn't really much left for the HHM stuff. They're kind of doing their own thing now.
it's kind of done, I feel like.
Yeah, which that was a great story in and of itself, and obviously Chuck's done.
Yeah.
Without the introduction of new characters and new plot points, I don't really know
Jimmy's
where else
probably
going to
get Jimmy's probably going to get his settlement eventually because they said it will happen eventually.
Right.
But
And maybe that's what he's waiting for,
and that's what will eventually fund his Better Call Saul, Saul Goodman lawyer or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, as a whole, I like this episode. I'd probably give it an 8.
Okay, I'll give it a little lower. I'd hate to break. I've only done it for one other episode, but this one would actually break into like 7.
You're Breaking Bad on it?
Yeah, Breaking Bad. I'm breaking it down to 7.6.
That's not that much lower. Whatever.
I know, but I feel bad doing that for the series because I really do enjoy it. I was looking at the numbers. We talked about this. Their numbers are, I mean, they're still one of the most highly ranked shows on AMC, but their numbers have been going kind of steadily down each season, and this last season was their lowest overall ratings and numbers and viewers for the entire time. So I would think that, maybe they're going to quit. Glad the quitting's good. It's not like the numbers have gone ridiculously low, but they were pulling in the 3s and the 2s million type. Now they're close to like mid 1s, 1.5.
And they're
1.6.
still a high performer for AMC.
Yeah.
So
Beyond the Walking Dead, which is just like the juggernaut.
Yeah. Walking Dead, nothing can touch that.
Yeah. Except for the Walking Dead, which is killing itself right now. It's being devoured by its own self. It's like a walking TV
eating
show
itself
zombie.
alive. Yeah.
It's scary.
So anyways, that's cool. So we'll keep you updated on that when we go back to Better Call Saul next year and when season 4 kicks around. Anything else you want to add?
No.
Okay. But yeah, so that wraps up Better Call Saul, and we'll pick that up next year. Next, I actually want to take a look at what you got something.
What would you give the season as a whole before we move on to that? The whole.
Oh, I really liked it. Probably an 8.8.
Okay. Yeah, it was extreme for this season. Like all the other seasons have been mostly high the whole time. This one had like higher highs and lower lows than ever before. But I think it averages out to about an 8.5.
Okay. Yeah.
So.
Not too different.
Okay, sorry. Moving on.
No, you're good. Moving on. So I wanted to check out a new show because I'd seen it being promoted, and it's The Mist, which is on Spike TV, which I don't ever watch Spike TV, so which is kind of a funny thing.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, let's see what they can do, and what they're doing, and I guess what they're doing is, I thought it was going to be like an ongoing TV series, but it turns out it's just a mini series, and it's one season, one and done, 6-episode thing.
Wow. Which is very surprising. Usually they try to stretch stuff
Right.
like that out as much as they can.
Right. So it's based off the Stephen King novel. The premise is an unexplained missile envelops the city of Bridgeton, Maine, creating an almost impenetrable barrier.
Maybe that's part of it. Sorry, go ahead.
To visibility. A barrier to visibility. The residents of the town soon learn the situation is even more precarious, as hidden within the mist are numerous monsters of various sizes that attack and kill anything that moves.
Ooh.
So,
I'm thinking that might be part of it too, though, because Stephen King is kind of known for his like short run projects on television.
yeah.
The Lumineers, you had It.
Yeah.
You had
Langoliers.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Lumineers. Langoliers. You had
Lumineers are a
It.
band.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of known for his like made-for-TV kind of long-running. So maybe he
The
would only give
Beast.
them the rights to do it.
Yeah.
that way.
So with this is interesting because I actually am a big fan of the Mist film that came out in 2007 with Thomas Jane, Sam Witwer, and a bunch of other people. I thought it was really, really cool, even though the end was the most depressing thing I'd ever seen in a film in my life.
At that point or ever?
At that point.
Okay, because I haven't seen it.
It's incredibly depressing.
Wow.
But it was really, really good, super engaging. It takes you down to like the mindset of like how terrible people could be in extreme situations, and gives you the different elements of all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And it was really cool. The monsters were pretty sweet. And so I really like the movie. The ending, I have to stop watching it before I get to the ending because it's just super depressing.
Like, and this is where it ends.
Yes, exactly. This is how I would end this thing. Okay,
there are
done.
certain movies and shows that I've done that with
Right.
that I've seen once before, and I'm like, yeah, I'm done with this. And especially shows that have a
You're
really
like,
bad ending.
You're like the Titanic. Stop. It's
Yeah.
not going to sink tonight.
Exactly. No, like a good example for a show is like Dexter. That show ends at like season 5 to me.
Yep.
Like once that season happens, the end of the show.
Yeah, I was
don't even
actually
know.
season 4 and done this for me, but
Yeah.
that would be even really depressing if that were the case. But
Exactly. Yeah. It's like I had to get through the season.
maybe season 4 and episode of two episodes of season 5 or something.
Yeah. There you go.
But so I got a chance to only the first episode is aired, but they actually released the first 3 online, and I got a chance to check out the first 3 episodes because I saw it was getting really good reviews from some people that are really
Getting pretty good rankings.
Yeah, that I really admire. And oh my gosh, I couldn't have been more disappointed with any.
Really?
Yeah, I was really disappointed and still am disappointed. I'm going to finish it.
That was a Shyamalan twist there. You're setting this up for like this big thing, and you're like, man, it sucked.
Yeah. Okay, and I text you this. Remember what I told you it was like?
I don't.
You don't remember?
No.
Okay, I said it. I texted you and I was like, dude, this thing is like if Lifetime had to make this movie and they were trying to make it way more dramatic than it had to be, or they're just trying to make it edgy.
I didn't remember you saying me that. That's funny though.
Yeah, it felt like a Lifetime. The acting is mediocre at best. Most times it's subpar.
Wow.
The characters, I don't care for any of them. We're 3 episodes in, I don't care for any of them.
So this is rare, by the way. This is getting on Rotten Tomatoes. It's got a 63% from critics, and it's got a 34% from audience.
That's why I'm on the audience side of it. I think the acting is bad. It's not engaging. Some of the horror elements that they're trying to make it a horror isn't really working, and they're trying to go for some shock factor. There was maybe one cool thing that I liked with one of the effects, like some person's jaw had been ripped off and they were trying to talk.
The big promo photo that I keep seeing is like the people up against the glass and their jaws like,
and that was it. And there are some other elements that are kind of cool, but it's really weak. I'm like really disappointed by it.
That's weird. It's very rare for this type of a like project, like an action horror suspense thing, that you would get that low audience score and this high of a critic score.
Yeah, one of the critics I really, really like that, and I totally agree with most of the stuff that they go on. They were like, "This is must-watch television." Wow. I'm like, "No way!
This is must-not-watch television."
And just because I am a completionist, like you are, Joel, I will finish it.
It stinks when you're like that, but yeah, wow. I don't know. Now I'm kind of like wanting to watch it because it's like, after seeing that and seeing like the polar, I'd like to see if I have a different appreciation from it from you, sir.
There are really weird, some of the effects, like the the mist effects, are bad. Like they're almost like you can tell they're just walking around in the daytime and there's no smoke.
Do you feel like they're doing any of that on purpose? because it's
They're
like
making it look like not real. Like it looks like bad CG.
Maybe not that, but like sometimes they purposefully parody or satire something.
No, I feel like they're trying too hard and they're not doing a good job.
Okay,
that's how I feel right now. Maybe they pull it together in the next 3 episodes, but the next 3 episodes don't air for like 3 weeks, so I won't even be able to talk about it for then. But I'm just really bummed out about it. And I want to go back and watch the movie because I feel like it's a much better project. Except for the ending. Yes, we'll stop that thing about 5 minutes out from the end, and then we'll be good.
Yeah. Send me that last little bit of the movie, and since I don't know anything preceding it, I'll just watch that last little bit, and I'll be like, it's not that sad to be.
No, I think you'll still think it's
really
sad. It's really depressing.
Wow.
And me being a father, if kids
are involved,
it would affect me in a really negative way.
Yeah.
But anyways, the one thing that bugs me and that I've noticed it a few times is that there are some really bad, it seems like there's really bad, either terrible acting or really bad ADR, which is, for you people who don't know, ADR is it's automated dialogue replacement. And oftentimes, and it's not uncommon.
It's very common, especially in films.
Right. So
almost 90% of the dialogue usually is ADR.
Really? Films, I didn't think it was that much.
It is, yeah.
Okay, so what ADR is oftentimes on set, you can't either get the sound or maybe
I'm talking about huge budget, like super high budget action type projects, yes. But most like indie type things, not necessarily.
So so what it is
films, television shows, no.
Right.
Television shows,
so
that's not that way.
For the most part, the film crew tries to get the best audio from their actors.
Yeah.
And tries to, but sometimes it doesn't come through, whether they're having mic issues or whether there's other sounds happening in the background.
There's a lot of reasons for it. There's different things that you want to do with the audio that if you're in an environment sometimes that it doesn't allow for, and there's a lot you can do to edit it and to get better quality. I'm sorry, I'm going way too far into this, but as a person that does these types of productions, there's a lot you can do to the audio to kind of clean it up.
Yeah.
But lav mics are notoriously bad, even the professional highest grade quality ones of just like having interference and clicks and they rustle. And boom mics are great, but they get a lot of environmental noise. Even a great boom person can kind of miss it. And there's just some shots that you can't, like especially wide shots, you can't. And so they'll hide mics on people all the time and hair and clothes. But most of the time they end up doing an ADR because you can get a better controlled sound. You can make it sound better in the environment that it's there. And it just generally sounds a lot cleaner.
Right. So the actors come in and they record their dialogue on top of what they're already saying.
Right.
Basically.
So they'll use the recordings they get in the actual moment as scratch audio to re-record from and also to use for editing purposes.
Right, exactly.
Until they can get the ADR done.
Exactly. And what bad ADR is when you can tell that it's not lined up with their mouth.
Like if you're watching a foreign film that's overdubbed with a different language, you can tell that's just like, what's going on?
It's kind of got that feel to it sometimes.
Yeah.
And they're really trying to tackle some tough issues right off the get-go of this show, and it's not really landing very well. And character development's weak sauce, and so I'm really bummed out. My first 3 episodes, if I have to rate it, I give it like a 3.5.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I'll try and check out one episode. I really don't have any interest. This isn't my kind of show, but like after
it's
hearing
not
everything you're saying,
scary.
I guess that's true. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of some Stephen King stuff. Some of it I'm just kind of like, meh.
Joel, I want to take you this fall to the movies to go see It. I think that would be tremendous.
No.
I think that would be so fun.
You're going to get hurt if you take me to go see It. Not because I'm going to
Joel,
attack
come
you.
Here. Spider-Man Homecoming 2 is coming out really early. It just happens to be playing in this theater that says It above it. Let's just go watch this movie.
I get really physical when I'm like scared. I have like that fight or flight reflex goes straight to fight, and it just like fists start like flying.
You would be that guy throwing popcorn.
And I've been working out like we're talking about.
That's right, getting the con bod.
Exactly. So get the con bod, somebody's going to get hurt in that theater. It might be the back of somebody's head, unfortunately, and I might get beat up. But
anyways, let us know what you think about The Mist if you're watching it. You can check out episodes 1 through 3 on Spike's website. But
there you go.
Yeah, so I want to jump into another here.
We're dumping into.
I want to dump into
Wow, just dump into
another show here. But you and I both got a chance to check out the first episode.
Yeah.
Netflix actually recently released this. But yeah, why don't you go ahead and
talk about dumps. I'm just kidding.
give us a lowdown on this.
Yeah, so we're talking about a show called Glow. This one, Glow. I love the way I said that. The synopsis for this one is it's a look at the personal and professional lives of a group of women who perform for a wrestling organization in Los Angeles. Its creators are Liv Flive, sorry, almost mispronounced that, Carly Mensch. You've also got Genji Cohen, who's the showrunner for Orange is the New Black, and Tara Herman, who is an executive producer on it. You got a bunch of different actors. This is like a huge hodgepodge cast. Biggest names are probably Alison Brie, who I've recognized from obviously a bunch of other roles. I loved her in Community. I thought she was great.
That's the only thing I really know her from.
Yeah, Betty Gilpin, Sidel Noel, Brittany Young, Mark Moran, Britt Barron, Kimmy Gatwood, Suniti Mani. There's a bunch. I'm not going to go through all these names, but one of the things that I like about Netflix is that they're not afraid at times, and I think especially with the showrunner, from Orange is the New Black and stuff, they're not afraid of kind of mixing well-known faces on Netflix with talent that's kind of not really known and up and coming, because they're pumping out so much content through Netflix. I feel like that there's more than enough for them to cast like big names in, and to also put like kind of up and coming younger names that maybe haven't been discovered yet. Not necessarily younger people, but younger names. So I do like that about this show, that they've casted some people in here that are kind of younger. I think one of the girls was, I don't know if you saw Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but Knives Chow from Scott Pilgrim, which I thought she was great in that movie. I haven't seen her in any projects since then, so it was cool to see her in this. And again, I like Alison Brie. I've seen her. The biggest thing I've seen her in was Community, and I always thought she was a good actress. She always plays in that show, she played the girl next door. Very naive, innocent, with kind of a funny sense of comedic timing, and reactionary. She's very reactionary, and I think that's one of the things that
reactionary.
Right, that's the thing that she does so well in her roles that I've seen her in, that I've thought have worked well, is she kind of bounces off situations and drama and tension very big, and in a sense that fits well because it's wrestling, and you gotta have to have those big reactions. And then so you and I have only seen the first episode, right? You've only seen the first one. I've only seen the first episode. I will say this. I had no expectations for it. I'll probably get like beat up from people for saying this. I only watched the first couple episodes of Orange is the New Black. I just couldn't get into it. There was just something about it that just didn't pull me in. And I feel in a weird way the same way about this show.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good elements to it. I mean, it's well shot. I think the acting is good. There definitely were moments where it kind of had me laughing. But there's just something about it that's like, it pushes me off and makes me feel like I'm not good enough for it. And I don't know what that is at the moment. Do you get that same sense?
Yeah, there's something odd about it to me too that I can't really put my finger on necessarily. I felt, I mean, there were a couple moments I laughed at. Some of the side characters were kind of funny to me. Some of the lines that they said, even though they're kind of outrageous, but it takes place in a semi like real world kind of a thing.
The show is like almost presumptuous in its nature. It's almost like, well, this is just it. This is the way that it is, and da da da. And I think at times that it's off-putting for me. So I'm getting really like deep into, and it's not like I can necessarily put my finger on like a specific something, but it's more of just the relationships and the way that it treats certain things and certain aspects, where it's just kind of, I can appreciate it in a way because it's definitely different than a lot of the other stuff. Yeah. But at the same time, it's not. Yeah. Like for this type of a project where it's obviously they're going for more of like an edgy kind of like no holds barred look at like these women and what they experience and how they go through. Like it's not edgy in that regard.
And we can't talk too much about the whole project, obviously, because we just seen the first episode. So I mean, it could very well be an amazing thing, and critics certainly like it. So it's something that we might. It's
getting huge ratings right now. It's like 96% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
I think the other thing about this show, and maybe it appeals to a different kind of audience than what I am usually falling into, but this kind of show, especially where it's going to be like, I don't know, it's about wrestling. It's about these women, and this is based on a true story. These women that sort of formed their own sort of wrestling group. I don't know a lot about wrestling, but
Well, it's formed by a director.
right? Who, as everybody knows these days, pretty much wrestling is all fake.
Yeah.
They fake it all, and they create these characters and these identities that kind of they play out. It's like a soap opera in a sense, but like an athletic soap opera, if you will, which is really weird, but it works for some people. And I've never been a big fan of it, but some people love it.
A lot of people love it, yeah.
Yeah. So they created, I'm not attacking him at all. So, but they've created like the female version of it in the show. And so Alison Brie's this character who's this up and coming wannabe actress that's getting into this, she's getting kind of booked or like sent for auditions for the same kind of role over and over and over again. It's like a secretary and da-da-da. But she's this weird girl. And that was like one of the things that was presumptuous to me. It's like, she's weird because she's weird and she's different. And I'm like, she's not doing anything to me that felt all that weird from any of the other women that I know.
Yeah.
You know, maybe she's willing to like say things at times in a way that is a little bit different and attack like the norms, but it didn't really feel like anything was like that different.
She seemed like her like an maybe a little bit less exaggerated version of her character from Community. That's what I felt like.
Her style, yes. I mean, because she had like in Community, she was like an innocent girl with like, you know,
as the show went on, she became way more like that innocence and kind of like naivety kind of went away a little bit.
Right.
She became a little bit more aggressive and assertive.
Absolutely.
And I felt like that's kind of what we got a little bit more of. It's
like a older version that's also from an earlier time,
right?
Somehow.
And so I had and maybe just because that's really the only main project I've seen her in.
Yeah.
I had a hard time disconnecting that a little bit.
Yeah.
I kept thinking Chevy Chase was going to show up and make some like, you know, terrible joke or something like that. But
So what I was going to say, like, because I was going into talking about the whole show and its creation, what I was really going to say is that it is based in reality. So I understand why they're going this direction, but it is grounded. And they kind of broke into, like, my favorite part of that first episode was the part where they broke into the fantasy, where she's wrestling with, I forget the other girl's
name. At the very end, yeah.
Right, at the very end of the episode, and it's this surreal world where they're kind of like these characters, like the director's seeing them
like he's imagining them.
He's imagining it, and that was fun and stupid. And I will say this about the show as well. This is not for, you know, younger viewers.
Not at all, yeah.
There's nudity, sex, there's, you know, definitely language and coarse humor and stuff. So I didn't enjoy it because of that, because it was obviously very sexual.
Right.
You know, he's seeing them in a very sexual. I'm trying to not like be like that gross. I didn't enjoy it because of that. I just enjoyed it for its over the topness and its ridiculous nature, because you're dealing with a topic that, and that's the comments I keep seeing from him is like, I'm so glad that they're finally like bringing this to light that these women did. It's a show about wrestling. It's like they're trying to make The Wrestler the show, like the movie The Wrestler the show, but with girls. And I don't like it. I don't like it for that. I kind of want it more over the top. I kind of want it a little bit more community and silly. And I don't know, maybe that's just me. Maybe that's the same reason I didn't get into Orange Is the New Black as much, which
maybe they take it there. I don't know, later on. Maybe
we're only in the first episode here. So, and I usually like to give at least 3 episodes.
Yeah.
And I'm also saying a lot of bad things here. I don't want people thinking that I'm just like bashing on the show. I want to give it. I'm just talking about things that I'm hesitant with and I'm not excited about.
Right.
Before, you know, moving into these next, because, you know, you form an opinion. I just can't help it. I'm a critic. I form opinions on stuff. I'm hoping that the characters grow into their roles a little bit. And part of that larger than life thing for me is that I need, and there's tidbits of it, but like I need the characters to kind of take on a bigger persona. In a sense,
my favorite,
to kind of come into their own a little bit more.
My favorite part was when she's like, "All right, so what's our background? Like, you know, let's get into character, because that's something as actors we hear all the time. Like, you know, hey, figure out your background before you come into the audition."
That was hilarious,
and I was like, "That's kind of funny." She gets in there and she's like, "No," she's all over dramatic,
right? Like,
that was kind of funny.
That was kind of funny.
Yeah.
It's stuff like that kind of breaks out of that like realistic style. I really did enjoy, and I think the overtopness of the director being this like horrible guy, but like an idiot and like a horrible guy was like really funny. Like when he was like struggling to get out of the ring, and he's like, "Oh, son of a," like, you know, like I thought that was really funny and stuff too. I don't know. Maybe I just like really base humor. Maybe that's just my problem. I've seen too many of these R-rated movies that we're trying to review on the podcast, and it's affected my humor style.
Yeah, I don't know. So if I had to,
can't be true.
if
man.
I had to rate this just the first episode, I'd give it a 5.
Yeah, I'd go a little higher. I'd give it maybe a 6.
Okay,
But
cool.
yeah, we'll see. Next 2
We
episodes.
shall see.
At least dose more.
Yeah.
Talk about taking a dump. Dose more.
Okay.
going really bad here.
Well, it's actually kind of late for us right now, Joel. So we are,
It is.
having a good old time here.
Yeah.
But hey, so that's gonna wrap up our episode of Tube Talk. And if you had some thoughts on what we had to talk about, if you checked out The Mist, Glow, the finale of Better Call Saul, what are your thoughts on what's going to happen in the 4th season? Let us know. Email us at realreviewmedia@gmail.com. Check us out on our Facebook and Instagram and Twitter at Real Review Media, and our website, realreviewmedia.com. Email realreviewmedia@gmail.com. But yeah, anything else you got to add to that, Joel?
Nope. I'm good.
That's it. Well, it's been real.
It's been real.